Throughout this video, I will be describing images in order to accommodate those with visual impairments. In today's society, the number of mentally ill people living as part of the homeless population is overwhelming. In a recent report of statistics, 45% of the homeless population had some form of mental illness. Additionally, mental illness was found to be the third largest cause of homelessness for single adults. This increase in the levels of the mentally ill living on the streets is likely due to a lack of hospital space, lack of inexpensive resources to treat mental health, and a strong stigma against mental illness, which causes a lack of job opportunities for the mentally ill. These stressful living conditions can only worsen the conditions of the mentally ill by increasing or causing anxiety, depression, drug abuse, and much more. The image accompanying this slide is a cartoon drawing of a man labeled the Poor, sitting outside of a building labeled Mental Health Clinic. We will now listen to some experiences from those with mental illnesses who suffered with homelessness. Shown on the screen is an image of Walter, a 54-year-old African-American man with schizophrenia. He is shown from the shoulders up wearing a blue collared shirt and black hat. Here is Walter's experience with mental health and homelessness. Begin quote. "I didn't want to take the medicine because I thought it wasn't pure. So what happened was they gave me a shot and I was unconscious for about 3 days." End quote. This encounter has scared Walter away from psychiatric care units. Walter now participates in Housed by Pathways, an organization which provides homes for those who are mentally ill and homeless. Unfortunately, this organization is difficult to upkeep due to an increase in DC apartment rental rates and a decrease in DC's continuum of care programs. Due to his experiences with hospitals, Walter was forced into homelessness, where Housed by Pathways saved him. Accompanying the following experience is a picture of the blogger Serena Clark. In front of the picture is a blurred red shape with Serena in the distance. She is Caucasian with short brown hair and big square glasses. Here is another account of homelessness and schizophrenia from a blog post by Serena. Begin quote. "By my senior year, I was having a full-blown psychotic and manic episode. I was isolated from my community, neglecting my hygiene, and eating meals out of trash cans. I had a few moments of insight where I saw myself basically becoming a gravely ill, homeless person on campus, wandering the grounds at odd hours, talking to myself, rambling incoherently. I thought to myself, this is not right. Something bad is happening to me." End quote. This reflection exemplifies the struggles that those with mental illness face while living on the streets. Unlike Walter, Serena did not have access to a program such as Housed by Pathways. A more popular blog, known as the Homeless Man blog, recounts the opinions of a homeless man struggling with Asperger's. Pictured here is Kevin Barbeau, a Caucasian man behind the blog. He is pictured here in black and white from the chest up with glasses, a white mustache, and a beard. Although unable to hold a job, this man has kept up his blog to show his struggles with mental illness and homelessness. He stresses the importance of treatment availability for the homeless and mentally ill. Begin quote. "Depression or anxiety, or other brain function differences such as Asperger's syndrome, can impair their abilities and cause them to become homeless. All of the people in this category require treatment specific to their condition before they can successfully leave homelessness. This treatment involves teaching coping skills so that these people can effectively control their condition and prevent it from interfering with their decision-making processes. The amount of time it takes for these people to leave homelessness depends on the severity of their condition and the quality of treatment they receive." End quote. This blog also recognizes a secure program which offers housing to the mentally ill, similar to Housed by Pathways. Begin quote. "Housing First puts homeless people directly into permanent housing, regardless of their current health condition. And lo and behold, these homeless people are achieving great success in the program. Cities are reporting 80% or more of the homeless placed in the Housing First programs have kept with the program for a year or more. It really is possible for an addict or a mentally ill person to maintain a home so long as they receive proper assistance." End quote. Through these personal recounts, it is obvious that the main goal for activists should be to increase the availability of mental health programs for the homeless population. If these resources are readily available, less of the mentally ill will end up homeless because they will be equipped with job finding, housekeeping, and mental health coping skills. To initiate a change in the availability of mental health resources, it is important that the population is informed of this issue and ready to help. Accompanying this slide is a black and white image of a man sitting. Only his rugged shoes and jeans are showing, and a sign next to him says, "Homeless, hungry, sick, and tired. Anything helps. I have no one." Here are some interviews with Duke students to show how society views the homeless and mentally ill population. This is Anna, an 18-year-old female from Raleigh, North Carolina. She is wearing a purple Alpha Delta Pi sleeveless shirt and shorts. She is sitting crisscross on the floor. What is your initial reaction when you see a homeless person begging for money?
Usually just to walk away.
What is your initial reaction when you see a homeless person talking to themselves and begging for money or doing some other action that implies they may have a mental illness?
Pretty much the same thing, just to walk away.
What percentage of the homeless do you think are mentally ill?
Oh gosh. 30 to 50?
How would you describe someone on the streets with a mental disorder?
Describe them, like physically?
Yes.
Well, they probably outwardly look the same as a homeless person who doesn't have a mental illness, but they're at an even greater disadvantage than they already are.
Do you frequently find yourself avoiding eye contact with the quote-unquote scarier-looking homeless people?
Yeah.
How should we increase the accessibility of resources for the homeless and mentally ill?
I don't really know what systems or infrastructures are already in place. I think mental health awareness is helpful for everyone, but especially for the homeless, knowing that atypical behaviors they might exhibit are not a product of their homelessness as much as it is just mental health disorders. This is Sarah, an 18-year-old female from Rochester, New York. She is wearing a white sweater and jeans. She is sitting crisscross on the floor. What is your initial reaction when you see a homeless person begging for money?
I'm initially kind of sketched out and probably move away from them.
What is your initial reaction when you see a homeless person talking to themselves and begging for money or doing some other action that would imply that they have a mental illness?
I am probably even more freaked out, to be honest.
What percentage of the homeless do you think are mentally ill?
I honestly have no idea. I feel like a lot of homeless people, are just struggling in other ways, like maybe they can't find a job and so even though they're not mentally ill, they're still just struggling. I don't know.
How would you describe someone on the streets with a mental disorder?
How would I describe someone struggling on the streets with a mental disorder? They're living a difficult life. They have no way to provide for themselves unless they're forced into this situation that they don't want to be in, but unfortunately they're in it. I don't know.
Do you frequently find yourself avoiding eye contact with the quote-unquote scarier-looking homeless people?
Yes.
How should we increase the accessibility of resources for the people who are homeless and mentally ill?
Well, in my public policy class, we talked about creating psychologists and mental health resources available in the areas where a lot of homeless people are known to reside. So not just homeless shelters, but having counselors there to talk to them. This is Jonah, a 19-year-old male from Tampa, Florida. He is wearing a gray sweatshirt with black pants and sitting in a rolling chair. What is your initial reaction when you see a homeless person begging for money?
Generally, I don't know, I'm generally a little bit wary of homeless people, but at the same time I've had a lot of interactions with them personally, and I've learned that not all homeless people conform to the stigmas around them, so depending on the situation I would or would not give them money.
What is your initial reaction when you see a homeless person talking to themselves and begging for money or doing another action that may imply that they have a mental illness?
Yeah, so sadly, a lot of people have mental illness as a result of being homeless, and also mental illness is a lot of times what drives people into homelessness, sadly, if they don't have a good support network. Um, but if someone is showing signs that they're mentally ill, it does make me a little bit even more cautious than I would normally be, because just in a situation where you're walking by them on the street, it's not the safest, especially if you're alone.
What percentage of the homeless do you think are mentally ill?
I would say more than half, like 60%.
How would you describe someone on the streets with a mental disorder?
I don't know. I think mental disorders can vary a lot. I think it depends a lot of times on which type of mental orders or mental disorders that they have, and sort of how good of a support network they have to deal with their own issues.
Do you frequently find yourself avoiding contact with the quote-unquote scarier looking homeless people?
Yeah, yes.
How should we increase the accessibility of resources for the homeless and the mentally ill?
Excuse me. So we basically just need a lot more sort of government aid to go towards helping homeless people. In the past, we actually did have pretty good mental health programs, and then I believe it was in the 70s when Reagan was the president, he closed a lot of the mental health institutions across America, and this displaced a lot of people who needed help that they couldn't afford, and as a result, a lot of those people today have ended up on the streets, and so reestablishing the support network that we have for those type of people would help them a lot.
It is apparent that the stereotypes of the homeless and mentally ill will act as a barrier to increasing mental health resources. If everyone avoids the homeless and mentally ill, how will society work to increase the resources available to the mentally ill? If the stigma can be eliminated, the ultimate goal of increasing mental health care for the homeless will be easily obtainable. Shown here is a black and white image of a homeless man with two large bags sitting under a pile of blankets. He is alone and looks sad.